Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Egwuenu, and in this channel I create videos about tech, career and my life as a developer. In today's video we are going to be talking about, drumroll, how I use Notion. I've been using Notion for more than 2 years now, and one thing that Notion means to me is Notion is more than a productivity tool for me. Notion is more like a life document, I would say. That's what I currently use it as. To me, Notion is more like a system that I've designed to help me keep track of a lot of different areas of or aspects of my life. Right now, I use Notion as a content calendar for my YouTube videos, and for my blog posts, I use Notion as a research tool. So if I'm trying to learn about a topic or I'm trying to learn a new technology, I use Notion for that as well. I use Notion for tracking my job applications. I can go on and on the things that I've used Notion for, but it will really make sense if I actually show you those things, right? So let's get right into that part of the video. So like I mentioned earlier, I use Notion for tracking a lot of things that I do in my life. And to help me categorize those things, I have 4 different categories, namely their life, career, content creation, and miscellaneous. So a lot of these things are things that are quite important to me, and I like to have them documented or track them in a way that is useful for me. A lot of things that I do, I use Notion for. As you can see, I'll just go over them. For the life category, I use it for tracking my yearly goals, and I've been doing this since 2018. So looking at that, that is almost 4 years. I've not been using Notion for 4 years, but I remember I used Trello for 2018 goals, as you can see, and I remember moving it over like 2 years ago. And this is also nice to see, like to look back and see, oh, this is what I did in 2018, right? Another thing that I mentioned earlier is I use Notion as a system. Over time of using Notion, I've tried to create a system for tracking different things. So in 2019, this is also how like I set up goals and I was able to accomplish them at the end of the year. But over time, I created a system, which I'll show you right now, of how to track my yearly goals. So initially, I was just writing them down as lists, but right now I have a different structure, and I think I found this from somebody that I was following on Twitter that was doing it this way, and this is very nice. So I'll just go over it. So for my goals every year, I have this template called goals, which I'll share if you want to also do it similarly the way I'm doing it. I'm going to share this. I have this template where I, at the beginning of the year, write down the goals that I want to accomplish, or I can also say intentions that I have for the year. So intentions or goals for myself, my life, my career, finance as well. And not just that, because people tend to leave it here, but I still go further to track those goals. So for every quarter, like for instance, for Q1, I track all the things I was able to do for Q2, for Q3 and Q4. Apart from tracking it quarterly, I also have a monthly tracker. So for each month, like February, I have a tracker. So at the beginning of the year, I write down the goals, right? So I write down the goals that I want to accomplish. 3 goals. I must write 5 blog posts. I should stick to my intermittent fasting, or I could start working on a Gridsom course. This was last year. And then at the end of the month, I come back with the goals that I had in mind. I fill this part, the 3 things that went well, the 3 things that did not go well and I should improve, and what I am going to do to improve them. What did I learn? I don't think I stuck to doing this what did I learn section. 2021, I am still using the same system and it has been going pretty well for me. I use Notion for tracking goals. As you can see, it's very interesting to see like data, actual data on the previous months and years of your life. I also use it for tracking other kinds of data, like for instance, my weight loss journey, which has not been going great, as you can see, but I want to put in more work and effort to making sure that I stick to my goal of, losing some calories. And I just use this document right here to keep track of my weight loss. And I have this running document like calendar, fitness calendar, where I, track the things that I'm doing, the week, the workouts that I'm doing. Some days I am very, very lazy. As you can see, some of the comments that I have, I feel very lazy to work out. Personal finance is also something that I track, and I track investments that I've made. I try to invest a lot. I keep track of them here. I also keep track of income streams that I have. My goal is to get to, at least 10 income streams, and I'm getting there gradually. So I work as a front-end developer. I'm creating content on YouTube. I write technical article. In the future, I'm looking at doing either a course or a book. I have Patreon. I have a web monetized website. I have ads on my website. I invest in stocks, and I also getting paid through affiliate marketing. These are all passive income apart from this first one. So yeah, I use this part of Notion for tracking my personal finance. Book notes. I have recently been reading a lot of books, and I am looking at writing a review. But to be honest, I don't think I'll be able to write a review for every book that I read. So for the books that I want to write a review of or make a video out of, I am tracking them here. And I don't think I'm going to be consistent there with all books that I read, because it's going to take a lot of time. But the prominent books that, I want to talk about, I'm going to do that. Finally, in my life section, I have travel plans. Unfortunately, I have not touched this document in almost a year now, because I remember in 2019, I planned several trips. Also had other plans to go to different places, but unfortunately, Corona happened and none of that was possible. But I'm looking in the nearest future, when we're able to travel, to use this part of Notion to, track the plans that I have for traveling. The next part I would like to talk about is the career area. Here, this is where I put things that are related to my career, right? The first one here that I have is more like a profile, like personal information, kind of like CV. I don't really call it CV because it's where I just keep stuff about myself that I can easily just copy and share to people. Like, for instance, if I'm speaking at an event, I come here to copy my bio, and I also keep some of my pictures here. It's very helpful because everything is in one place. Again, this was pre-corona. Before Corona happened, I wanted to speak at a conference. This is how life happens, right? Imagine I was applying to different conferences, CFPs, left and right, center, because, I wanted to speak at a conference. And this was all in 2019, actually. And a lot of these conferences that I applied for, I was rejected. I started this CFP tracker after I read an article. I can't remember what the article was about or who wrote it, but I know it was about, constant rejections from applying to CFPs for conferences. And after reading that article, I decided to start tracking the CFP, because initially I just send the CFP and I leave it until they send me a rejection email, right? But since then I was tracking this, and I remember 2 conferences accepted my talks eventually. And that was Code Talks Hamburg and Refactor.tech. But unfortunately, COVID happened and I was unable to, speak at those conferences. But last year, 2020, because of Corona and the pandemic, a lot of conferences became virtual conferences, and I had more opportunities to speak. So that was good. I think that turned out really well, because I think I spoke at what last year, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 conferences. So that was good. This is another part that I think would be very helpful to a lot of you watching this video. I also use Notion to track my job applications. Last year, I was crazily applying to different jobs. When I was looking, like, you can see a lot of rejected, declined, and, stalled applications. So at first, when I was applying to jobs, I would just apply without tracking the job that I had applied for and just waiting for them to get back to me, which was not helpful, right? But since I started doing this, I I noticed the value in it. The value for me is that I can always look back and see how many jobs that I applied to. This is even more than the jobs that I had applied to at the point, but I only started tracking them like towards the end of my job application journey. And so basically this template is tracking the company, the status of, so you have different status, you have ready to apply, message recruiter, referred. So I just update it with the current status of the job application. I also add the posting URL. I add the stage that I'm in, if I'm in phone screen stage, coding test, questionnaire, interview, final chat, and add the date as well. So as you can see, a lot of people did not get back to me. A lot of people rejected me. Like, I know at one point I got a rejection like 30 minutes after applying. I knew automatically that was a bot and it was an automated process. So that was not a good experience anyway. For some of these interviews, I got to the interview stage. Like for this one, which is my current job, passionate people, I got to the final chat stage. For this one, JW player, I did the coding test, but I did not scale through. Bending spoons, the same happened. So a lot of this data that I've collected here is going to be useful to me in the nearest future, and I definitely will be sharing this template as well for you to use. Personal development is something that I've been doing recently. This is quite recent. I am trying to learn a lot of things. So as a developer, it's always good to, keep up to speed with learning technologies that you work with. And for me, that means I have to always be learning. I have to always be staying up to date with what is currently happening in the web space. So I've been using this. I've not been using it, to be honest, recently, but I used it a lot last year, and I remember using it for when I was trying to write the AWS cloud certification, which I stalled. I don't know if every other person have that problem, like you start something and eventually you pause it, but good news, I'm getting back into it this month, so that's nice. But I use this as a note taker, so this is where I wrote a lot of notes that I was taking when I was learning about AWS. So this still lives here, so whenever I'm ready to come back to it, I can always continue from where I stopped, which is nice. This part I would show you because I am trying to be very open, and I know people will be interested in seeing this, so I'm going to show you all. Anyway, I created this document literally last week. After I don't know what happened, but I was just checking my emails, and no, I remember what happened. I was supposed to sign something, and I went to my DocuSign account, and then I remember that my first ever job that paid me salary, literally my internship, they sent me a document to sign on DocuSign. I think that's what it's called. So I checked and I saw, this was my contract, right? This was how much I was earning. And I, continue checking, and I start seeing like more contracts that I signed for jobs that I've had since that period. This was 2017 when I started my tech journey. And I'm going to breeze through this because I don't want you all to see everything. Some of these are confidential, like places that I still work in. But anyway, my first actual salary was 50K as a developer intern working at this company. And then I got promoted to full-time, earning 80,000 naira. I think in dollars, this is around this is like $150 per month. And then I got this other international jobs. But the good thing is I started earning in naira, and now I've moved up the ladder. I use Notion for content creation, for tracking what I do regarding content, right? And I'll first of all show you my YouTube video planner. For every video idea that I have, I dump them here. So I have this thing called board view video ideas. For all the ideas that I have, I just put them here. When I'm ready to start working on them, I move them over here. Like I have a planning area, shooting area, I have editing and published, right? And recently I found a very helpful template that has really helped me, and I really love it. Before I show you that template, I'll show you what I was using before for creating my videos. When I want to create a video, I have this video already up, moving from Lagos to the Netherlands. I first of all outline what I want to talk about, then I put a to do, then I search on YouTube for who has done similar type of videos, or just randomly check out some editing ideas from people's videos that I want to integrate into mine, and just dump everything there. When I'm making the video, I look at this as well as talk about stuff that I want to talk about based off the outline that I have here. So this has really helped me, but I recently moved from that template over to this one that I currently use, that is very, very, very nice, because it's just an upgrade from where I was before. So right now I have this place for research. This is where I move all what I had in my initial template to. And then I have, if I want to write a script for a video, YouTube metadata, a lot of these are different templates that I use. And to help you in this video, I will be sharing templates for most of these pages that I've showed you in this video. So if you're interested in doing something similar like I have done, you can use that template in your Notion space as well. I also have a blog content calendar where I track the articles that I plan on writing. It's quite similar to how I have the video one, but this is for my personal blog. And I also, part that I want to talk about here is public speaking. This is just like more of a brain dump area. So if I come up with a talk idea, I have this, I'll just show you an example where I just put everything that I want to talk about, resources and everything, and I put it together, clean it out eventually, and create an outline of what I want to do for the talk before moving on to slides and presentation. And it really helps me a lot. So that's for public speaking. Finally, partnership, collaboration, and sponsorship. Recently, I've been getting quite a few number of partnerships and collaborations, so that is nice, and I keep track of them here. And if you are watching this video and you have any collaboration, opportunity for me, please reach out to me. Finally, this last area is called miscellaneous. So for everything that does not fit into these 3 parts that I have, I just dump them here. So for some of these notes, these are mostly notes that I took when I was learning something, or this is just ideas that I have, or this is just random, just different random things. I remember I was trying to learn about content creation, and I just dumped everything here. So that is more, this area is more of like brain dump to me. That's how I see it, right? And I take out things easily. If I eventually find that something fits into another area, I just move it there. The next part of this video is where I actually show you how to use all of these things. So a lot of these things that I showed you, I started from scratch. Some of them are templates. So now I can get to talk about templates. Templates in Notion are already pre-built, types of documents that you can use, and there are a lot of them that I use is from here. Like for instance, my home space, this is it here, and you can use different ones for different things. Remember the job applications ones I showed you? This is it right here. I use this for my blog posts. Notion can also be extended out of this template. So I know that the templates that I showed you for YouTube, I found from somebody's YouTube video that I watched, or some of the contents, I just bootstrap them myself. Some of the content layout, I just create myself. And with that, you can use different content blocks that Notion has. So you can use all of these blocks to literally create your own templates. And I use this a lot, especially for some of the things you see here. I don't need to have like a predefined template to use them. So those are the different ways that you can bootstrap, a page or, content in Notion. So that brings me to the end of the video. Did you find something helpful from what I shared with you? Or are you now convinced to also use Notion like I am currently doing? If any of this fits into how you feel after watching this video, then I'm very happy, because that was the idea that I had when I created this video. Anyway, for all the templates that I mentioned that I will be sharing, you can find the links to that in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.